Good evening, gentlemen, or morning. I guess it's actually not evening; it's morning. But we have a rewatch today of last night's game one. We had a new player and another guest player. You know, Michael's not a regular per se, but he's always a good time when we join. To the south, we had Michael as the Spanish. Let's pull up his stats real fast. We got 5 minutes before treaty drop, sitting on 50, 37, and 19. So his gold's short, but he's going there. He's got two markets going there right here. He's going to trade, if you look, kind of along the front, farther forward. And he was the Spanish. I was the Indians. I'm just in love with them. That's the only way to put it. And that's my trade is back here in this corner, and it goes along the bottom here. And so I think most of our teams are doing that here. So from the other, and then we've got Jake as the Rootin' Tootins sitting on 69. Hope you don't add any more. Sadly, you are going to. That's a mistake. Then 46, 56. So he's got a good economy going. He needs to build more houses because he's going to get housed here really fast. And our new player, who hopefully we see more of, is my buddy Corbin joining us. He went the Vikings, decided he was going to take care of our defense on our side. And so Corbin's getting going. We can see he's a little behind. He's still, he didn't go castle too long ago. On the other side, we have Spencer as the Rootin' Tootins. And we've got Joel as the poles. Joel and his pole. Joel, quit playing with your pole. I'm a bad person. And Gaia isn't Gaia. That's great. There it is. Austin. Austin's sitting at 28, 53, and 63. So he's still cooking a bit. He also hasn't gone Imperial yet. Oh, he's clicked the button though. So he's had a slow game this game for how effective he is this game. Austin's really their offense this game. So I'd also like to point out, so their trade screwed them. They got screwed on the trade. Their river has 3 crossings, 1, 2, 3 crossings, versus our side where we have 4 players has 2 crossings. So they were screwed from the get-go. But also their trade goes right along the river front here, and it's not easily defended, which, you know, unfortunate. 2 seconds, 1 second, and treaty is up. We're going to speed things up now, but just a little bit. So that's what's going on here. But come on, computer, work with me. There we go. So Spencer's building those. If you look, I am building these. We push forward, and we initially hit Joel. Joel gets hit first by Michael, myself, and Jake as well. You see that Joel is all over the water. Spencer digs in. And so I turn, because I'm like, I gotta make sure that I'm keeping an eye on Spencer. Spencer's dangerous. While that's going on, Austin comes along and just gets across. Boom, boom, boom. Jake's building a forward wall. We're gonna see how this works out. But Austin's just building fire ships and just cooking. Meanwhile, Jake is here. I've got troops up here. Michael's up here. So all 3 of us are pushing forward into Joel. So from the get-go, we put them kind of on their heels. But Spencer is over here. He's got his 3 castles defending. We're trying to keep units going. And Austin owns our water, essentially. And we got Joel he's pushed troops across. Jake's got so many walls going on here, it's crazy. Meanwhile, Jake is just sending troops like crazy up in here, fighting Joel with all his heart, might, and mind. Meanwhile, on the other side over here, we see I pushed up to their walls, trying to take out that gate. See that Spencer's built a bunch of Teutons, and while that's happening, I'm taking out these castles. We got troops. Those trebs are just... I'm able to defend them. Meanwhile, Austin is shuttling troops across. But they're just chilling here. I don't know what they're doing. Austin needs to take a thing and just hit this. Boom, boom, boom. Open up stuff. While we're going over here. So Michael's put troops over here. We see that Joel got into the trade a little bit, but Michael's taking care of it. Michael's into their trade over here. So Michael's kind of the hammer. Just sends troops all over the place. On this side, we've taken out Spencer's forward stuff. Spencer's got troops coming. I'm just going to hand cannoneer them. We get a hole in, doesn't make much of a difference. They're fighting for their lives to defend it and trying to take out these castles. Built so many castles this game. Meanwhile, Austin has still got troops on our side, but they're not, you know, he could get to the trade. Jake has now built a castle to take care of that. And then Austin's on the water, like, we need to have troops over here. And he's not wrong. He does. Jake has just put so much pressure on Joel that they had to turn and support Joel this game. Meanwhile, Michael is still in their trade going crazy. I'm amazed this game lasted as long as it did. Meanwhile, we've got Spencer with Cannon Yellens taking out my trebs. He's double walled now, which is probably wise. It's just going to hold me back, which is what they're going for. Meanwhile, Austin has put ships over on our side that are just taking out Jake's, so he's not getting any troops through because he needs to build up here. But I'm amazed that Austin didn't go out and take these out, because that would have really slowed me down. Because of that, I built up here a little bit. But there's no water troops going on over here. Austin's walled off our side. I don't know what that's about. Guess he wants troops coming through here is what he wants, so he can just shoot bombard stuff on him. I'm gonna look at it. So Austin's got 23 dudes on wood. And a lot of gold, but not a lot of dudes on gold. Meanwhile, Austin and them have kind of cleared out Jake and slowed things down. You see that Michael has swung over here. The trade is stopped. And I'm just trying to fight and kill these things. It's kind of turned into a stalemate over there. Meanwhile, Jake is building buildings over here because he's tired of Austin being a bad man. Surprised that Austin didn't start building buildings over here, because that would have been big. But he was also fighting for his life. So, no, it is what it is. So Jake's back now. Joel has recovered. The question is, what's going to happen? We see that that Corbin is actually, he's the guy that kind of keeps riffraff out. We see he's got just a bunch of these guys in here. They're just been kind of clearing out stuff. So Austin is doing what I was saying. We need to build stuff. So we're going to see how that goes. On the other side, we take out that castle. Oh, hasn't been taken out yet. But not yet. And Austin's been just broke the whole game. He's just wood starved. So Austin's building some stuff. He needs to build horse stuff. I don't know why he's not. That's weird. Oh, they did wall that off. Okay. Meanwhile, Jake is killing very expensive units. Don't you just love onagers? They're just such a great unit. On the other side, we've taken out these Yates, and the fight for the whole has begun. You can see that Austin's fighting over here. Let's see here what's going on here. Boom. Oh, Austin's got an onager that's just wandering around. I don't know why Austin didn't do horses. That doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't match his game style. Which seems silly. So Austin's starting to take out these buildings. And now we see Austin is like, oh, I gotta get going again. So he's back up and rolling. He's out of gold though. On the other side, we see that I've essentially claimed this zone. Me and Michael are just, they're outnumbered. This game is, we have them outnumbered. And that's the difference in the game. So I find it interesting that the trade's going behind here. They want that, but I don't know how you get your trade to do that. Meanwhile, Austin continues going down this sideline and owning our water, which is really what's going to hurt Jake the most, is if he can get up in here and clear these things out. Joel has held, and I'm sending troops into Austin at this point. Which I'm sure Joel isn't going to like, and I'm sure that Austin's not going to like. Although, Austin just hasn't been using his food hardly at all. You see Spencer has now built 5 more castles to defend with. And if I'm those guys, I'm building right here, my markets. But we're into Spencer. And Austin has claimed our water. And he's shutting down Jake's back end here. So we're going to see a slowdown of Jake. Question is, what's going on over here? Because we've got castles that are holding up still. Meanwhile, Austin is sending fire ships. Trying to... So now, Corbin has started to build the longboats. Naval battle is at its peak. The fight for the river. And Austin is finally starting to build cavalry. You know, I think that when Austin was building over here, if he built cavalry, I think we've got a different game. Because he had food and gold. He could have been having paladins left and right. I don't know what was going on there. What's going on here? Oh, Michael is swinging into Spencer again. Poor Spencer. And Austin's struggling. I mean, his economy is just dead. He's been pretty wrecked. Spencer's sitting on 10k, but no gold. When you have no gold, you have no gold. And that's the game. So, I think a couple things when I look at this game. Primarily, I think that the trade, we get through and the trade is right there. Not only that, but the trade was also around here as well. and they were able to early on shoot into teams. So I think that the map itself really screwed the team in the north. And then on top of that, anytime that you're outnumbered, the odds are stacked against you. So thank you, Spencer, Austin, and Joel, for humoring us. I do think that we're going to keep Corbin at a 1, and Michael might be a 2 after that game. He played pretty good. Whoa, what's going on there? Michael, why is your whole base not moving? That's weird. Did you run out of gold or wood or something like that? Michael ran out of wood. That's what happened right here. This is what happened. He ate up all his wood. Okay. Well, that happened. But regardless, it was a fun game. GG, guys. Well, you can't wait for this weekend / next Tuesday. Our bro trip is just around the corner, and I couldn't be more excited. When we look at stats, see here, Spencer had the high military score, followed by Jake and myself. So Spencer was doing some heavy lifting. I had a negative KD. Spencer had a positive KD. Jake had a positive KD. Poor Austin. My heart just goes out to the poor guy. He lost the most buildings. When we look at economies, I had the most food and gold. Jake had the most wood. Spencer had the most stone. I'm not surprised he had to buy so much stone. When we look at technology, I was by far the fastest. Well, I guess Spencer wasn't too far behind me, but Jake was slow on his times. It's fine. Spencer built 14 castles that game. It's a lot of castles. And that was our game, guys. Until next time, we out.